Hey there, hi there, ho there, everybody, and welcome to the Project Hydra server. This week's episode is a big one because I've got a big announcement to make. This Saturday on Twitch, I will be live streaming a tournament of all the racetracks, Spleef arenas, and minigames here at Fandoland. This tournament will consist of all 4 racetracks, all 4 Spleef arenas, the contestant's choice of 4 party games, and a choice of 4 strategy games. Players will receive points for each game they participate in the form of purple potato coins. Whoever has the most purple potato coins after all 16 events is declared the champion of Season 4 and will take home a fabulous grand prize. The winner of the Fandoland tournament gets to choose the seed for Season 5. Here's how scoring works during the tournament. Instead of purple potato coins, I'm using the glistering melon to represent them. That way nobody steals any purple potato coins. If you're playing a 2-player game, the winner will receive 64 purple potato coins, and the runner-up will receive 8. If you're playing a 3 to 4 player game, first place still gets 64, second place gets up to 16 now, third place gets 4, and if you have a 4th player, they get 1. If you have 5 players or more in your game, first place still gets 64, second place gets 32 purple potato coins, third place gets 16, fourth place gets 8, fifth place gets 4, and if there is a 6th player, it's 2 purple potato coins. A 7th player would get 1 purple potato coin, and 8th place and above will get nothing. With 16 events and 64 purple potato coins awarded to the winner of each event, if one player were to win every single event, they would receive 1,024 purple potato coins. What triumphant victories and humiliating defeats will we witness? Who will decide the fate of an entire season of the Project Hydra SMP? Tune in this Saturday, August 24th at 11 a.m. Central Standard Time. That's approximately 5 p.m. British time and 6 p.m. for Central Europe at twitch.tv/fandoman. Hope to see you there. And now on to the episode. Since the next time you'll see me, it will be in the tournament, I thought I'd spend the episode showcasing all the games and racetracks we've built here at Fandoland. And I'll explain the premise and the rules for each game, as well as show off some of the shortcuts to each racetrack. Let's get into it. So we're going to start in the bottom left corner over here with our strategy game category. And this, of course, is Supercube's game, Redstone Rush. We fly in here, and it is a 2-player strategy game in which the goal is to connect a redstone signal from this redstone block all the way to this gold block. But there's a twist. Each turn, you can place either a piece of dust on your own field, or you can place a repeater to block your opponent from reaching the gold block. Additionally, every single turn, a repeater will appear in this item frame here, which will instruct both players to place a repeater on their side of the board in the orientation specified by this item frame. Here's a little practice area we have right here. There's also some really cool strategies that you can use, where if you use repeaters, you can actually set the delay on them to bring the signal back into itself. That way you can reuse some of your redstone dust to extend it towards the gold block. So this game is very intricate and strategic, and it's turn-based. So this will qualify as one of the strategy games for the tournament. Next up, we have a timeless classic strategy game here, based off of Tic-Tac-Toe. It's none other than Hasbro's Connect 4 game. Oh look, we got some NPC players here. You and your opponent simply take one of the concrete powders in here, and each turn you will alternate placing blocks against the ceiling here and letting them fall onto the pistons. When one player has connected 4 of their color in a row, either diagonally, horizontally, or vertically, they are the winner. And in order to reset the system, all you need to do is flick the lever. The sand will plop into the hoppers beneath and restock itself in the chest. Connect 4, simple as that. Right next to our Connect 4 game, we have Guess Whom, another game whose IP is owned by Hasbro. There are Minecraft blocks. There are Minecraft mobs, which are currently in use, as well as Minecraft people, specifically the people from our server. The game is currently set up to be playing with mobs, and as you guess your opponent's mobs using descriptions, we like to play without physical descriptions to make it a little more challenging, but whenever you want to narrow down your choice, you simply flick the lever and the armor stand above it will go down to where you can't see it. And then if you want to change your mind, simply flick it back up, and there they are. In order to run the game, all you need to do is take these shulker boxes, place them against the dispensers, and hit the button. And the redstone behind it will shuffle everything up, and once the shulker boxes return, the game is ready to play. Now that the shulker boxes have returned, you'll see that they are empty, because now they are loaded into the system. So all you have to do is press this button, your opponent will press their button, and this will assign you which mob you are going to have your opponent guess. Your opponent may have the same mob as you, so don't rule that one out just because you have it. Then when you're all done playing, simply hit the purge lever, and it will dispense all the heads back into your inventory for you to load up into the shulker box to play again. Our last strategy game comes just across the street from Guess Who? It's the Card Parlor. Now, I've spent 4 months creating this deck of cards using Minecraft maps, and I'm super proud of this. Every single suit is a different color. All the artwork was made by myself. Face cards are famous Minecraft YouTubers, and I even have some jokers. And in order to play, you hit the button to shuffle the deck. The shulker boxes get loaded into the unloader, which will send the cards down into these droppers, which get shuffled as such. Okay, the shuffler has stopped, which means we are ready to deal the cards, and we can play any games from Go Fish to Cribbage to Blackjack, Cockroach Poker, P&A. You can play Hearts, Texas Hold'em, whatever the players want to pick for their strategy game is allowed here, as long as it's agreed. I'm just going to deal 5 for an example. Or you can play with the cards in your hands, and then when you want to lay them, we have item frames, so people can see what you have. So if you wanted to do like a 5-card draw poker hand, people could see what you got. And I got ace high. If at any point the game is over or you need to reshuffle the deck, make sure you hit the lever here. That way all the cards in the deck get dispensed into the center of the table, so you can load them up easily into the shulker boxes. If you're playing with a full 52 card deck without jokers, you will fill one entire shulker box and leave the other one with 2 empty spaces. So if you're playing with jokers, make sure that both boxes are full before ending the purge and hitting the button again to reshuffle. One more thing with the Card Parlor is you can play multiple different card games as long as other players are willing, and they all count individually as strategy games. As long as they are different card games, you can spend your entire time here in the Card Parlor. Moving on to our party games, just above the Card Parlor, we have Castle Colors. This is basically like Crash Bash's Pogo Painter games mixed with a bouncy castle. You hop inside, you take your elytra off, and make sure you have at least 4 places of your hotbar accessible, because when we hit the start button here, dye is going to be dropped from the ceiling, and whatever your color is, my color in this case will be red, and use the bouncy castle powers to dye as many of these signs to red before the bouncy castle stops bouncing. Now I'm going to demonstrate this without the dyeing of colors, but I just want to show what's going to happen. We go up, we go down, we try to collect our dye. It is a little bit jarring, understanding that some players may have some difficulty with this jarring effect. This minigame is, of course, optional. Doors are open, game's over. Obviously, the player with the most signs of their color is the winner of this game. Moving on to one of the first minigames I've created in Fandoland. It's Bam-Boozle. This game originally started as a bamboo farm, and I have since turned it into a kind of a race to the top style minigame. So what you do is you hit the button to reset the chamber. You take your elytras off. You wait for the machine to make it all the way back. And then you enter the chambers. And without placing any blocks, any bamboo shoots, or breaking anything, your goal is to be the first person to climb your way out of the tower. Typical game times for this last about 5 to 10 minutes, depending on how fast the bamboo grows. But as you can see, some of it is already growing pretty fast. I feel like we're already a third of the way there. Oop. Halfway there. First person out the top on that glass platform or the bamboo platform over there is the winner. Sorry, Pillager, I'm not going to let you play. No, no, no. You let me out. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Our next party minigame is over here. This is the Riptide Arena, or the Trident Bowl, if you want to call it that. Players will take the tridents provided to them by these item frames. There's extra storage over there if they wish. On the count of go, all players go inside, and it can be played one of several ways. You can play it like a normal PvP arena, where you just use the Riptide Tridents to try to bash your opponents. Or you can go into F5 mode and try to maintain a constant spin, kind of like a spinning top or a Beyblade, if you will. It's very tricky to try to maintain this constant flow, but sometimes the game will just decide, oh, you're done. There's also a third mode of playing where you just take all your equipment that you want, and it's just a free-for-all match inside the water. And of course, outside the glass is enough room for any spectators to watch. Whatever you decide, this is the PvP game of the amusement park. And just across the street from the Trident Bowl, we have our Leap of Lapis towers. Now, these towers go all the way up to build height, and the premise of this game is to block your opponents from hitting the water below. And you can play this on one of 3 difficulties. We have the easy difficulty by placing magenta concrete. You can make it harder by placing lapis, or near impossible with the blue stained glass. So each player only takes one of these, and all players should agree on the same color. But I'm going to take all 3 up to the top just to show you what it's like. So what you do is you climb in your tower, and the bubble stream will take you all the way up to build height. And once you've reached your build height limit, whoever's turn it is takes a jump and lands on the water below. After which, they place a block where they landed, or wherever they choose to do, as long as it's agreed upon, of course. Eventually, the board will look something like this, and it will become increasingly difficult to land on a safe spot. When a player does meet their end by landing on a block instead of the water, they lose a life. And you can identify this by flicking a lever next to your colored pillar. Once you've lost all 3 of your lives, you're out, and the remaining players will compete for first place. The last player with any amount of lights lit up is the winner. If, for some reason, every single block has been placed and there is no more safe spots to land in, the player with the most lights left on is the winner at that point. If multiple players have the same amount of lights on for the win, then they both share the victory. The 5th minigame we have for the party category is way up in the north. This is Bonded's creation. Bonded Salt made this minigame called Labyrinthus Adeptus. And there's a whole bunch of redstone going on underneath each one of these boxed-in rooms, making an ever-changing maze that is there to confuse and frustrate players. You try to get to the other side, which is diagonally across, as quickly as possible. However, some doors may shut on you during the maze, or be shut the entire time. So every single attempt is different. Now, this can be a event where everyone enters at the same time, and the person who finishes first gets first place, or everyone can go on their own, shuffling the doors in between runs, and everybody times their score, and whoever has the lowest time is the winner. We now move on to our next category, which is Spleef. And over here, we have the classic Spleef. This is the northernmost Spleef arena, just south of Bonded's Labyrinth. We have a ring of basalt. It's like Doughnut Spleef. So it's the classic Spleef experience where all the players go in, and it looks like we have a park guest. You love Fandoland. Me too. The whole point of this kind of Spleef is there is a haste 2 beacon, and I have provided in these chests next to the basalt generators a efficiency 5 pickaxe for everyone to use. So you will literally mine out the ground at instant speed, and your goal is to knock your opponents into the water. And the last person standing is, of course, the winner. You can actually play this as a team event, so each little basalt generator can be turned on or off. So if your teammate is over here and people are trying to spleef them into the water below, you can have the basalt generator turned on so it will fill in the basalt, giving them more ground to stay afloat. By contrast, you can do the exact opposite. If your teammate is not in your corner of the arena, you can turn your basalt generator off so that all the basalt mined on your side of the field does not regenerate, making it harder for your opponents to stay atop. Right next to our Doughnut Spleef, to the south here, we have the Dunk Tank Spleef. I would also call this Update Spleef because we use the new 1.21 features and the copper bulbs. To enter, you just go up this bubble column in the middle. You grab a stack of snowballs, and your opponent does the same. You each hit these pressure plates, and it will only work when both of you are on it. I'll just use that carrot to simulate another player. And then you try to hit the target, and every target you hit will retract the platform below them. And the last player standing is the winner. And in order to reset, all you have to do is go back up, hit the reset button, and all lamps will relight and all platforms will re-extend. The next Spleef game we have over here is a Drip Leaf Spleef. It's right across the street. This one is really fun. If you go up, you can play this multiple ways, and it has a nice little tune. There we go. And once you're in the arena, you're walking on drip leaves, and the drip leaves will break as you stand on them. They will reform eventually, but the idea is to not fall into the water. If everyone that you're fighting against is really good at Tron, they can cut you off just by walking. But some people might need a little extra motivation for this, so I've devised a different system here. So you go up, you grab yourself a couple stacks of snowballs. As soon as the game starts, you can actually throw your snowballs to make your opponents fall into the water while they are trying to do the same for you. Obviously, it didn't work out that well for me. This type of spleef can also be turned into a team game where your teammates are up here on the roof throwing the snowballs while you and your opponents are trying not to get spleefed. Players on the top that are going to be throwing the snowballs are to have an empty inventory until all players are in the arena. That way nobody can destroy the leaves as they're trying to enter, because that wouldn't be fair. The last spleef arena we have here is probably the most volatile. This is TNT Spleef. Now, the way that this works is all players hop inside this square of basalt, and the last person in flicks this lever before entering. The TNT above are all duplicated and will fire down at random. And the goal is to be the last person standing on top of this square. While the basalt will regenerate, it's not a guarantee that you will survive, because one, you're not allowed to come in with armor, and the TNT blasts are deadly. And two, you might also fall through the tiny holes as they form. No, no, there's so many. So each one of these duplicators has a 1 in 4 chance of releasing TNT as the redstone makes its way around. So the more that gets destroyed, the harder it is to maneuver your way around the arena and dodge the TNT. And yes, sometimes the TNT falls straight through. Whoa. Oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no. Oh no. It was so stressful. So yeah, TNT Spleef at its finest. Whoops. And then to turn off the machine, you simply flick the lever and let it run one more cycle. The final tournament category is, of course, the racetracks. And our first one here in the lower left side of the map, we have Papu's Pyramid from Crash Team Racing. And me and my horse Langsam here are going to show some of the... Come on, we can go upstairs. Me and Langsam here are going to show off as many shortcuts as I know from this track to help everybody have a even competitive spirit here. So it's not about knowledge, it's about skill. If we stop here and go onto this wall, you need to have a horse that can jump at least 5 blocks. You can actually use this and jump off the side into this pool of water right here. And then you essentially skip that entire side of the track. If you do it one more time over here, your horse will take a little bit of damage, but that is probably the fastest lap time I can think of. We might be able to get up here. Yep. And then we can go across this side and continue the track this way. And then, of course, you can jump onto this little face of Papu from Crash Team Racing. Once you get to the top of this part, which I believe is the second highest point, you can actually jump onto this glass square here and use it to go across and skip this loop up here. I do want to mention, it is standard tournament rules that if you fail a jump... Oh. I didn't know I could do that. If you fail a jump, you are not allowed to go to the nearest scaffolding to get back up, but the nearest one behind you. If I failed the jump to go this way, I would need to backtrack and go back to where I was. It helps if you're in F5 to go up the scaffolding with a horse. There we are. I can't believe I made that jump. How did I do that? How did I do that? The second racetrack of the tournament will be Mario Kart 64's Rainbow Road. Personally, I think this track looks better at night than it does during the day. The whole road's lit up, and our little glass neon signs of our faces, this one happens to be my face, look so much better when lit up at night. So I'm going to go ahead and show you some shortcuts on Rainbow Road. You don't have to worry about the drop damaging your horse. because it's all powdered snow under here. The first shortcut here is actually onto Domino's face. You get up onto the end rod, and then you can actually use this to jump yourself up, skipping this entire first turn. Hey sheep, you can go over here, and you can actually use the Sly face over there to get up, or you could use Pun's face over here to get up. Pun's face here to climb up. I did it again. So you can use Pun's face to climb up over here and get up this way. Alternatively, you can use Sly's face down here. Okay, maybe not. You can use Sly's face over here. How could I miss? Don't fall off. Yep. Yes. Yes. And there. You can use Sly's face to skip this second curve. Over here, we have Yoru's face that you can use to get up here and skip. Whoop. You can climb up him. And then you skip that lower loop down there. And then you can go up this way. You can actually use Ritro's face right here to skip this curve right here. But you'll need a 5 jumper horse in order to get up this one. You can actually use a combination of Yoru and Ritro's face. If you climb up Yoru, and then you backtrack going the wrong way straight to Ritro, you can actually skip both this lower loop and this upper loop and bring you to the finish line here. So after starting the lap, you can actually go around my face, and if you time it just right, you can actually land all the way down here, skipping the very first half of the track. Now make sure to bring some carrots along with you on your racing experience, because you don't want your horse to die, because 3 jumps of that will kill a horse. Our third racetrack is a recreation of the Hot Air Skyway map from Crash Team Racing. It took a really long time to safety-proof this and make sure that it didn't cut over Bonded's base, but we were able to recreate this iconic track from Crash Team Racing. You'll see that it forks off in 2 different directions. The one on the left, right here, you can literally just run off with your horse and you'll be fine. But if you're a jumping horse, you should be able to land on the other side and cut a little bit of time off this way. Once you get towards the end, you'll see that there's like a spiral staircase thing going on. Rather than going around this wall, you can actually jump over it. And it's very doable right there. So you can cut off that little section of the track there. And now we get into some of the more interesting shortcuts. We have the ability, if you're willing to damage your horse, you can actually jump over this wall and land into the spiral below, which you can then use to double the shortcut and land over here. Once you're on this side of the map, you keep going, and then you'll notice there's a glass wall. If you have a horse that can jump 5 blocks, you can actually go up and over, skipping those 2 loops of the track. And probably the biggest shortcut on this track, and I'm going to heal my horse first because this one will damage your horse. You jump directly off of this wall, landing here. You've essentially skipped half of the track. You go here over this wall to skip another quarter of the track. So you're literally doing only 25% of the track if you do those 2 shortcuts. After Hot Air Skyway, we make our way north to the final racetrack. This is from Garfield Kart. It's the Prohibited Sight track. To enter, you go through this little hole in the fence. At no point are you allowed to re-enter during a race, so this is off limits. If you land on the grass outside of bounds, you have to return to the nearest scaffolding behind you. It's just like landing in the water. Here's the starting line here. This one probably has the greatest shortcut potential of any racetrack. You could just go up the dirt path, or if you have a high enough jumper, you could climb up the sandstone. That's one way. If you have a less jumper, like one that can do at least 2 blocks, you can just ride up the stone here, jump over this wall here. While I don't think it has any shortcut value, you can get on top of the tube here. There is a second tunnel right here, which is kind of dark. It comes out on the other side over there onto the ice track, and then you would normally go this way. But if you jump on top of this rock here, and you jump again, you can land on top of this pipe, which will allow you to get onto the fence, and you can use that to cut across and get over to this side of the track. So your best bet is to try to jump over these fences here, just like I did, but that's pretty tricky. But if you did that, you would skip out on this entire ring and needing to jump over these cobwebs. I think that's the first time I've ever made that part of the jump. The biggest shortcut that I know of is over here in the water. If you're not skilled like me, this was play tested by other people. No, up onto this one. Up onto this one. And then you could jump over here to get onto this rock again. Jump onto the tube. Make your way out and over, and you've skipped all this. And the second tubes. Okay, so the other shortcut I know is if you're leaving the tube, you can get onto this fence here, ride the fence all the way over, go up this next set of fencing, jump over the cobwebs, and then if you can make it, which I obviously couldn't, you would jump over these cobwebs, onto this fence, cross behind the finish line, and back over. And I keep giving myself sunglasses with the horse's ears, and I can't get over how cool that looks. But those are the racetracks of the Fandoland tournament. And I am looking forward to Saturday, where we will be live on Twitch, 11 a.m. Central Standard Time, that's here in Minnesota, and I look forward to seeing you all there. And until then, bye for now.